The FDA and EPA are failing to adequately protect Americans from a dangerous rocket fuel ingredient used by the Department of Defense. Consumer Reports discovered the compound perchlorate in 67% of food samples, including packaged food, baby and kids food, fast food, and even fresh fruits and vegetables. Most of the perchlorate contamination in soil and groundwater is attributed to the use of ammonium perchlorate in solid rocket fuel, explosives, munitions, and missiles tested by the Department of Defense. In 2005, the FDA approved the use of perchlorate as an anti-static agent in food contact materials and plastic packaging. Perchlorate can also enter our drinking water if facilities use old bleach stored in plastic containers. In 2011, the EPA concluded that between 5.2 and 16.6 million Americans could be exposed to concerning amounts of perchlorate in their water. The levels of perchlorate in individual foods tested could not exceed the suggested daily limits. However, multiple servings of different foods tested like mac and cheese, rice cereal, yogurt, cucumbers, baby carrots, and collard greens could reach the EPA's maximum acceptable oral dose levels for babies and kids. As you can see here on the screen, baby and kids food had the highest average level of perchlorate. Perchlorate can interfere with iodine absorption and disrupt thyroid hormone production, contributing to hypothyroidism. Pregnant women and children are at the greatest risk of experiencing thyroid dysfunction from perchlorate if they are already iodine deficient. The researchers cited a study that found when women with thyroid dysfunction were exposed to higher levels of perchlorate during pregnancy, their children were 3 times more likely to exhibit negative brain effects than children whose mothers were exposed to low levels. The good news is that our kidneys start to remove perchlorate within 10 minutes of exposure. From what I could find, 30% of perchlorate is excreted in urine within 3 hours of exposure, 65 to 70% within 24 hours, and 95% within 48 hours. The researchers noted that the perchlorate levels they found in food could accumulate to concerning levels for at-risk individuals like pregnant women and children, but were not high enough to be immediately or acutely harmful to the general population. The FDA needs to remove perchlorate's approval for use in food contact material and packaging. They also need to require food manufacturers to test baby and kids food for perchlorate. In addition, the EPA needs to set a maximum contaminant level for perchlorate in water, like California and Massachusetts have done. The EPA has continually pushed back plans to do this and now say they will propose a limit by November 21st of this year following an NRDC lawsuit. The EPA should also enforce that water utilities don't use old bleach in their water treatment process. You can reduce perchlorate exposure by using a water filter at home, not overeating dried foods and plastic packaging, prioritizing whole foods, buying local when you can, and consuming adequate levels of iodine. If you're worried about perchlorate exposure and thyroid function in general, you can always see an endocrinologist or naturopath and get your blood tested. If you don't already, be sure to give me a follow on these other platforms for the latest insights on food farming and health news.